This is a how-to guide on getting to the Abyssal Woods from Jagged Peak without fighting Jori. From the Dragon's Pit Terminus Site of Grace, you're going to exit the cave and then get onto Torrent and ride over to the position where we perform the setup from. The setup was discovered by Distortion 2 as far as I know, and then I have tweaked it so that it works in the RL1 one-shot route. You're going to need the Lightning Perfume Bottle, a seal of some kind, something to aim with. I'm using Longbow. You're going to need Okina Mask, a Lulling Branch, Godric's Great Rune, and you're going to need the Heal incantation selected in your spell menu. So you're going to get into position here on the ground in between the dragon's foot and tail, and use the bow, and you're going to get your angle about here. Yeah, about here. I use the lines on the reticle at 6 o'clock and 7:30, and then have them kind of in this position relative to the rocks on the peak in the background. Okay, switch to the seal in your left hand and then reload your game. If you've ridden Torrent in your current session, then you need to reload your game, otherwise this doesn't work. What you're going to do is use the Lulling Branch and then alternate the inputs for the weapon skill and the light attack. So keep alternating L2 and R1, L2, R1, L2, R1 until you're just about to proc sleep, and then buffer the input to call Torrent. I've got the Torrent whistle in the bottom of my pouch, so I hold Y and then tap down on the D-pad. And then if it works out correct, the animation where you climb onto Torrent should be cancelled by sleep procking. And then during that, you're going to buffer a roll forward, and then buffer the input to two-hand and block with the seal, which should look like holding Y, and then holding L1, and then releasing Y, while continuing to hold L1. If you do that correctly, you should two-hand and start blocking with the seal in your left hand. If you do it incorrectly, like you are holding Y for too long, then you'll start to cast Heal, which doesn't work. It'll just teleport you back after. So if you do it correctly, it should look like this: Lulling Branch, L2, R1, L2, R1, L2, R1. Torrent. Roll forward, two-hand. If you climb onto the rock like that, that means it worked. You're gonna, at that point, you can start running forward, and you're gonna transition from the foot of the Jagged Peak into Abyssal Woods, and then into the foot of the Jagged Peak again. That second transition, you're gonna count to 4, like 4 Mississippi, and then you're gonna hold R1. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. So I'm holding L1 and R1, and then this should drop you down. You're going to die when you hit the ground, but you will be near the Stake of America that's down here. So you'll get the option to respawn there. Okay, and there you go. You got to the Abyssal Woods without having to fight Jori. I gotta say that it's pretty finicky. There's some things that can go wrong, like it won't always cancel the animation where you get on Torrent. And even if you get that, it won't always break gravity. I've heard that if you lock your frame rate to 34 frames per second, that it makes it more consistent. I haven't found that to be the case personally. I feel like it's equally as consistent either way. But, you know, you keep trying it, and eventually it works.